Okay, welcome back. This is an hour that I have long anticipated, and it has been 7 long years that I have and many others have been anticipating. The chance to sit back and listen to and talk to the world's certainly most famous political prisoner, Ernst Zundel. Ernst was kidnapped from his home, where he and his wife lived in Tennessee. Most of you know the story. Illegally deported to Canada, where he spent close to 2 years in solitary confinement, and then deported to Germany, where he spent 5 more years in prison, finally being released on March 1st of this year. I don't know how he was able to put up with it. It is mind-boggling. His crime? Researching and studying history. Sounds silly? If you don't know the story, stay with us and we'll find out. My friend, are you there?
Yes, I am.
It is a singular pleasure to hear your voice. Thank you for being here.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Ernst, during the 2 years of solitary or thereabouts in Canada, you did not have access, I don't imagine, to what they call the media now. Did you have access to the so-called media during the 5 years of imprisonment in Germany?
Yes, I did. I must say that things in German prison were far better than they were in U.S. or in Canadian custody.
Mm-hmm.
There in Germany, I could get even CNN and the BBC. I had a television, and I was able to keep up with the news this way.
Sounds too civilized. I'm glad to hear it.
Actually, no, I must say, naturally, prisons are not nice places, Jeff.
No.
But the treatment I got in German prison, once I went through that grotesque trial, and was convicted, basically on the same documents that the Canadian Supreme Court freed me on in 1992. Mm-hmm. In other words, the same documents, the same publications, the same historians that I quoted in my court case that gave me freedom ultimately in Canada, gave me 5 years in prison in Germany, where truth was no defense.
In fact, truth is not only no defense in Germany, truth can result in an attorney trying to present it in court in going to prison herself.
Absolutely.
Your valiant attorney?
She was not the only one.
No. Sylvia Stoltz, one of Ernst Zundel's defense attorneys, is in prison as we speak for simply trying to introduce evidence in her client's behalf. That is what modern Germany has sunken to.
Now, Jeff, it's important that you and your listeners realize that Sylvia is the one who presented most of my defense documents on 9/11. Most people don't know that. I didn't realize that this never was understood on the outside. 10 or 12 of the charges were directly or indirectly related to my publications on 9/11.
Nobody knows this, Ernst. You're right. Nobody knows this.
I'm telling you this. This is what I mean. Everybody concentrates on the other taboo subject.
Yeah.
But the real crux of the matter was that I had tried to attempt to open that can of worms in a neutral German, which I thought was a neutral German court, to examine what really happened in 9/11.
Unbelievable. That's incredible.
And that's what broke my back.
Unbelievable. This is a shock. I thought I knew much about what had happened to you.
Yeah. I mean, most people know about the other topic that I'm not allowed to even mention without running possibly the risk of being rearrested, because I'm still out for 3 years on probation.
Well, we're not going to talk about any other topics.
But what I'm saying is, Americans did not realize, and the American press never picked that up, that here was a German living in America that had taken a kind of keen interest in what led up to and took place during 9/11, and it is my newsletters and my publications on that actually, I think, is the reason for Sylvia's imprisonment.
Amazing.
Because she presented the evidence, and I mean really well-prepared evidence that now in America is public knowledge due to the shows like yours, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about information that I published
yes.
as one of the first writers in America. Yes. My first item that I published about 9/11 was on the 23rd of September 2001.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, you're way ahead of the game. That's what you get for being a true visionary and an amazing journalist, and it is all about journalism. That is called presenting data.
Yeah. Jeff, being called Zundel. Zundel is the root word in the German language, which deals with sparks flying.
Uh-huh.
You know, a spark plug is eine Zündkerze in German.
Mm-hmm.
And the ignition of a car is called a Zündung. So, and a match is called a Zündholz.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that I was destined to ruffle some feathers someplace.
Wow. All right. During the last 5 years, where you had at least a civilized environment in terms of staying in touch with the outside world, the food was not complete trash.
No. I must say, once I was convicted and safely tucked away, taken out of circulation, the exercise was to take this voice of Ernst Zundel out of circulation by silencing it.
Yes.
And once that had taken place, the treatment by uniformed German prison officials, I'm not talking about those out of uniform, I'm talking about those in uniform, the keepers, as we call them, the ones that had the big chain with the fat old 120-year-old keys around their waist. They were absolutely correct, with very, very few exceptions, which you will find anywhere.
Wow.
And you know, the routine in Germany was such in the prison that I could go to exercise, I could play ping pong for an hour, I could do exercise on exercise machines, have a 1 hour walk in the prison yard, and work on kind of craft group.
Yes.
I was allowed paints, brushes during my 5 years. I made thousands of little watercolors, and as many of those who were in touch with me know, I was allowed this freedom in prison, but of course nothing political. And my mail was censored for the entire 5 years.
Mm-hmm. The letters that you sent me are very much treasured, and the little watercolors as well. And I want to thank you for that.
Jeff, it was for me almost like therapy. You know, to me, to be able to, and also they allowed me to correspond in English to people like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big boon for me. A, I could keep my language skills up. And B, of course, I've been in North America and Canada and the United States for 52 years.
Right.
Including my incarceration and this stint behind bars. Mm-hmm. I count that as part of my exile, you know.
Yes.
I was exiled in my own fatherland. But to me, that was a kind of a big bonus that I could communicate in English, French, and German.
Yeah. How many people did you correspond with over that time, regularly?
Well, let me say, when I was released, I was given a huge box of 1,700 letters that were never allowed me.
Yeah, a lot of letters never made it to you.
Right. And I just picked up yesterday a truckload full of my boxes and copies of correspondence and court files and so on. A truckload full. So in those 7 years, of course, a writer of my dynamism, if I may be allowed this remark, collects a lot of thoughts on paper.
Yes.
And it was actually, as you know, I am somewhat esoterically inclined, and I believe in karma. And so, to me, I could take prison much more easily than ordinary prisoners who were just criminals.